Do you feel like you're trying really hard to make it as an artist, but you're just not making any progress? I'm digital artist Aaron Rutten, and in this video I'll share some tips to help you get over that hurdle. So what do you do when you feel like you've followed everyone's advice, you've tried as hard as you can possibly try, but you don't have a lot of views or subscribers or income, etc.? First is you're probably following a lot of people's advice, but maybe you're not doing it correctly. For example, you might be creating thumbnails for your YouTube videos, and that's a good thing. But the thumbnails maybe aren't very appealing. Maybe there's too much text, or maybe too much branding, or maybe not enough text and branding. Maybe it's the framing or the proportion of the video content in the thumbnail. It may be something as simple as that that's holding your channel or your artwork back. So don't overlook the little details like that because they're very important. What helps me the most with my own video thumbnails is to look at them a few times and just think, do they actually represent what's in the video? Are they appealing enough to click on? And if they're not, I'll go back and fix them. Once the video is up, I can do a search for a series of videos that have similar keywords, and usually your video will be ranked right up there in the top because it's a new video, and you can see how your thumbnail compares to all the other thumbnails around it. And if your thumbnail doesn't stand out and your thumbnail doesn't look appealing but other ones do, chances are someone's going to click on someone else's video and not on yours. So I might change my thumbnail a couple of times before I'm satisfied with it, just to make sure that it stands out in that list of other videos. It's okay to add text to your thumbnails, but you don't necessarily need to do it. Especially if it's a piece of art. That art should just be what's attracting people to click on the painting. They don't necessarily need the text unless the text supports what it is, unless the text needs to explain what the image is, or maybe it's a label saying it's a speed painting or some branding or something like that. That's fine. But don't add text that's already in the title on top of your artwork or make your artwork smaller, because the artwork is really what's going to stand out to people the most. So if you're following the advice of others, maybe go back and watch that tutorial video again or read that article again and just make sure that what you thought you were doing right is actually being done correctly. And if you have to go back and fix some things or start over, that's okay, because it's all about tweaking and optimizing your content to make it better. And that's an ongoing process. My next tip goes hand in hand with the first tip, and that is to learn new creative skills to enhance the skills that you already have. So we'll kind of go back to the thumbnail issue. If you don't exactly know how to make nice thumbnails, then you can learn about graphic design and typography and color theory so that you can make better thumbnails and better promotional graphics. My third tip also kind of relates to thumbnails, and that is you might be making great art, but maybe you're not doing a good job of promoting it. So it would be helpful to learn some SEO advertising basics. SEO is search engine optimization, and that's how Google search or YouTube search finds your video or links people to your artwork. Google has to be able to understand it and see it and know that it's there in order to direct people to it. And so you have to be able to understand what people are searching for in order to find content similar to what you create. And then if you can do a better job of advertising that and explaining it, you'll stand out above your competition. It would also be helpful to learn how to write compelling titles and headlines. There's all kinds of articles you can read for free with some tips on how to do that. And you should utilize social media, such as Facebook and Twitter and Google+ and DeviantArt, and all these different places where you can advertise yourself for free. It's really quite easy. And those are, again, more little tentacles or more strands on your web that are gonna attract more people and funnel them into your artwork. Email lists can be good, or any kind of way of collecting fans or subscribers. That's all gonna help. Just as well, you could also be involved in art communities and get your name out there that way. So really, promoting your art is almost more important than making art. You can make all the art you want, but if no one ever sees it or you don't do a good job of linking people to it, then it's just not going to get any views. So don't put all of your focus into making art. Don't feel like that's the most important thing that you need to do as an artist. Dedicate some of those hours that you'd be spending making art into promoting yourself. And if you don't know a lot about self-promotion, it's something that you can learn for free if you're willing to put in the time and learn a few simple tricks. My fourth suggestion is maybe you just need to practice more. Maybe it's a matter of just leveling up just a couple more levels, getting just a little bit better, and then putting your work up, and all of a sudden you'll begin to get over that hump. You can always practice more, you can always improve your skills, and so if you feel like you're not making any progress with the success of your art, you can at least know that you're making progress as an artist, and eventually you will reach that point where you'll be successful. So don't aim for instant gratification. Keep practicing, always keep practicing, and don't ever stop. Tip number 5 is maybe you need to work harder and put in more effort. And you're probably thinking, well, I'm working as hard as I can and I'm putting in as much effort as I have. I can't do any more. But that's not true. Think about it. Reach down inside yourself and muster up that extra bit of effort, that extra bit of time, that extra bit of energy, that extra bit of focus, because it's in there. You can do it. You've done it for other things. You do it all the time. You can do it for your art career, and that's what it takes. It takes recognizing that you thought that you were working really hard, but in reality you weren't. You were being lazy, and now you're going to work much, much, much harder. And if you have that attitude, all of a sudden you're going to see that things are really going to pick up. The pace is really going to quicken, and you're going to have success a lot faster. And you might think that that's the hardest that you've ever worked in your life, but guess what? You can work harder than that, and so on, up until the point to where you collapse and you die of exhaustion. But don't get to that point. But I would stay somewhere kind of, I don't know, underneath that level, like almost exhaustion, but get sleep, eat, get exercise, but put in the work, put in the effort, and you will have success before you know it. My 6th piece of advice is maybe you just need to keep going. Success isn't something that happens overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in a year. It doesn't happen in a decade. It doesn't happen in a lifetime for some people. But it's something for me personally that I didn't get automatically. I got little pieces of success here and there that eventually piled up and accumulated into something that I could call an art career. And that's how you're going to have to deal with it too. You're going to have to take what you can get and get the little pieces of success and the jobs and the selling a painting to this person and doing a commission for that person and making a tutorial video that gets 1,000 views and getting your first 1,000 subscribers. All of these things are going to add up. You're going to keep getting more subscribers. You're going to keep getting more sales. You're going to keep getting more views. And eventually you will be at that point where you can look back and go, oh, okay, I guess I'm successful now. But it isn't something where you just flip a switch or snap your fingers and all of a sudden you go from being a starving artist to a successful artist. It's a transition. So if you've already spent 2 years working really hard at being an artist and you haven't gotten anywhere, go ahead and go on into year 3 and year 4 and year 5. And if it takes you 5 years, you know what? You did it. You paid your dues. But if you give up on year 2 and you don't put in the rest of that time, you're going to have nothing to show for it. So be patient and it'll happen. Tip number 7 is you need to actively seek out new opportunities. You can't just rely on things coming to you. So you need to go out there, you need to network, whether or not it's in person or online. You need to be involved in communities, you need to engage with people who are into art, and you need to figure out what the opportunities are out there. You need to research keywords and look at videos on YouTube and see what people are watching. And if you have an idea and you go, oh, okay, that's a great idea that no one else is doing, I'm going to go ahead and try that. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But if you're flexible and you're willing to try new things, you might find a path that actually works, whereas what you were doing before is just kind of keeping you stagnant. And tip number 8 relates to tip number 7, and that is if what you're doing isn't working, then it's time to try a new approach. And what that means is maybe you need to add narration to your art videos. Maybe you need to make an appearance in some of your art videos so that people can actually see who you are and what you look like, and they have that more human connection with you. Maybe you need to add music to your speed paintings. If they're just silent or it's just, you breathing hard and drawing on your canvas. Maybe you need to try different topics or different subjects for your videos or for your artwork. Maybe you need to vlog and talk about your experiences as an artist like I'm doing here. Or maybe you need to collaborate with other artists. But there's really so many different things you can do and so many different ways that you can be successful as an artist that it's worth thinking outside the box and trying something new. And my final piece of advice is a really important one if you want to be able to get over the hump of not making any progress, and that is to stop relying on advice from others and use trial and error to create your own path for success. Try things. If they don't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. And each time you fail, just keep in mind how you made that mistake and try not to make that mistake again, or try to tweak something to make it better. As I mentioned earlier, it's all about optimizing your content and becoming a better artist, and that's something where you have to turn the dial just a hair here and there, and you have to try different combinations and you have to experiment. There's all these people like me out there telling you what to do and how to do it, but that's not always going to work for you. People's advice that they gave me hasn't always worked for me, and I've had to do things on my own. And that's just how it is as an artist or as somebody who's trying to make a living doing what they love. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's not that difficult. You can do it, you just have to put in the effort. So there you go, those are my thoughts on what you can do if you feel like you're not making any progress as an artist. If you found these tips helpful, take a quick second to like this video, and if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I have a lot more videos for digital artists like you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.